Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So beside me here is one of my birch trees that I've been growing from seed for bonsai. So they're about 5 years old now. I'll take you out and show you the other ones that I've got at some point. But this one's quite nice. It's got a nice shape to the trunk. It's a nice twin trunk going on there. It's grown like absolute crazy this year. We've got about 18 inches of growth, and I think I've actually pruned it back once or twice this year, believe it or not. So I'm just going to cut everything back. So I'll show you the tree quickly. Lots of growth this year. I'm not really sure what direction I want to go in with the tree, whether or not I cut off one of the main trunks at some point or not. But for now I'm just going to cut all the long growth back, maybe cut it back to like 1 or 2 buds. So you can see where I pruned it last time there, and then all this has grown this year. All these long shoots have all grown this year. And it's about 5 years old, I would say. Grown from little seeds that I collected probably about 5 years ago now. So the trunk's got quite a nice shape to it. Unfortunately, we haven't actually got any low growth on it. We've only got, this is the lowest bit of growth. So I don't know, maybe I could chop it back to 1 trunk, keep it flowing up this way, or go with this one. This one's a bit thicker and has got a bit of inverse taper, so I don't know, maybe at some point I will just put it to a single trunk tree. Not sure. Get rid of these little weeds. We've got lots of little willow. These are goat willow which grow in here. So they're basically weeds in the UK. So we get rid of them. And I quite like the tree as it is, even though it breaks some of the bonsai rules, I guess. So I'm kind of training it into sort of an umbrella sort of style tree at the moment. It's just how it's grown after I've pruned it. Anyway, if you've got any suggestions, let me know. But I think all I'm going to do at the moment is cut back the long growth. So I've got my secateurs here. What I'm going to do, anything that I can see which is long and shooting upwards, I'm just going to cut back for now. I'm not even worrying about where the buds are facing. Just cut back these long shoots, just to keep on top of the tree, basically. Stop it growing into a full size, out of control tree. I'm just cutting back these long shoots. So even if I just did that, I think that would be fine for this year. So I've just cut off all that. 12 to 18 inches of growth this year. A few more little ones which I will cut back as well. So all I want to do is encourage it to back bud and grow denser into more of a bushy tree. So essentially anything that's grown this year I'm cutting back. Whether I only take the tips off or if I cut it back further. That's all I'm going to do for now. But even just doing that makes the tree look a lot better, and it'll take up a lot less space on my benches outside. I'll try and get them all. Doesn't matter if I miss the odd small branch, because it'll just grow vigorously next year and then I can prune it again. So I don't want to go too crazy. So yeah, that's the tree there. and then we'll pop that back out on the bench. There may well be some more branches which I've missed. As long as I've got the main ones, we can come back to it at a later date and make some more decisions basically. So we've got a nice curve in the main trunk and it's getting quite thick now. It's about, I'd say it's well over 1 inch thick. And we've got some nice roots down under here as well. I did repot it into this. This was just a flower pot which I've trimmed down just to make it a bit shallower. So what I might do is take it out of the pot, get rid of these rocks. We don't need them anymore. They were just holding the tree in and just stopping it from blowing over and stuff. In the summer it was really bushy and kept blowing over, so I've weighted it down with some rocks. But I'll probably take it out of the pot just to show you guys the roots, show you guys the base. So I'll bring you in a bit closer. So here's the tree. You can see we've got that nice bend in the trunk there. And what I'll probably do in the future, like I said, is just use one of these as a trunk and probably get rid of this one because this one's got a little bit of inverse taper here at the top. So I could, in theory, just chop that off, but I'm not going to do anything too drastic at the moment. So I'll just pop it out of this pot. It's not even been in this pot a year yet, so it's already got roots coming out the bottom. So these birch are quite vigorous. You can get away with almost anything at any time of the year with these. So they do make ideal bonsai, although they are quite short-lived trees. They only live about 50 or 60 years. And then they'll just go downhill. So, but they are good to practice on. So when I repotted this, I did some root work if I remember rightly. And we've actually got quite a nice root system going on here. Nice root flare. I've got some thick roots spreading out nicely at the bottom here. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see them, but I'll bring you in for a close-up in a minute. Lots of these little goat willows growing in here as well. And again, they can be trained into bonsai. You can practice on them because they grow really vigorously, really forgiving. So that's what it's all about really, having fun. Grow whatever trees you want. Start with your native trees that grow near you. And just have fun growing what you want really. Don't let anyone tell you what you're doing is wrong. So what I'll probably do is scrape a bit more of this soil off, squeeze a few more roots. Not too many, I don't want to go crazy and disturb all the roots and do a full repot. But there's no harm in having a little dig and seeing what's going on. As long as we're not destroying any roots, the tree won't even notice. So that's the tree there. I'm not sure what you can actually see at the moment. So I'll show you the tree close up now. So we've got a nice root spread on here. So we can tidy this up a bit, put a bit more soil underneath. We've got some movement in the trunk already. And we have two trunks, well, from here onward anyway. This one kind of thickens up as it goes, so like I said, I may end up removing that at some point. Just going with one trunk. I mean, I will probably get away with doing it now if I really wanted to. Like I said, these are native trees to the UK, so you can get away with pretty much anything at any time of the year. Doesn't really matter. So I may well just decided to chop that off in a minute. This one, just keep it as one trunk. Not sure yet. But I'm probably just going to put it back in the same pot and just keep it growing and see how it does. Right, so I've been looking at the tree for a little while now, and I do really want it to be a single trunk tree. I don't like this straight bit here at all, because it just goes up. There's no taper in it at all, and in fact as it gets thicker up here. The problem is, if I remove that, there won't be much left of the tree. But I've got plenty of these little birch trees, and they grow really fast. They're really vigorous, they're really forgiving. So I'm thinking I might just chop the whole half of the tree off and then stick it back in the same pot and leave it alone again for another year. I'm sure we'll get, if I do that, it will probably trigger buds to burst out all over the place down here, because the tree will sort of go into panic mode and think that it's getting chomped by something. So I think I might do that. Anyway, I'll get back to you once I've decided fully. And that's what the tree looks like now. Alright, so I've made the decision. I'm going to cut this whole trunk off here. So I'm just going to cut it. I might leave a little bit on there. There is a bud there, so I'll leave that for now. I'll just cut through this big bit here. Oh. So there goes that bit. Look at the rings on there. There's not many, only about 4 or 5. So, you know, you've got to do something at some point with the trees. You can't just let them grow like crazy. So it seems a bit drastic, but I'll repot it. Not repot it, but I'll just put it back in the same pot with some fresh soil underneath, raise it up a bit more. We've exposed a few more roots down here, and the root base I'm quite happy with. We've got some nice spring roots. We've got some more fine roots coming out here, which will relieve. Haven't decided on the front. We've got this branch here, which is actually our lowest branch. So I haven't actually pruned this one, so I'll just leave that alone. These branches here will leave. Essentially I won't do anything else to the tree. At some point I will have to remove this thick one. Do you know what? We'll just do that now. I've already committed to doing all this, so it's just an experimental tree. So I'll take that off. That's the thickest bit from the top, and we'll just leave the rest of it. So that we'll just go further in. Like I said, these birch trees, they're vigorous trees, and you can get away with whatever you want basically. I could cut it right down to here and it would re-sprout next year, which probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but I'm quite happy with how it is now. So I'm just going to put it back in this, which is just a plant pot which I've melted some holes in at random, and I've cut the top of it off at some point. It's one of them really flexible pots. I think it had a Christmas tree in it at some point. So I'll put it back in that, put some more soil underneath it, raise it up a little bit more, maybe adjust the angle. I'm not sure yet. I might adjust the planting angle a little. Okay, so that's what's left of the tree. So I'm going to put it on now, put it back into the same pot it was in, if I can find it. I think I flung it outside. I'll go grab that, or I might see if I can find something better to put it in, because it has the potential to be quite a nice tree. So I'll have a look around, see what I can find, and I'll just readjust the angle so it's straight in the pot, mainly because then it won't take up as much room on my benches out there. So we can get it planted straight up like that. It's got nice shape in the trunk, and at some point in the future I'll make another decision, cut it down a bit further once some more growth comes out down here, which I'm sure it will. I can already see buds down lower down, and I'm hoping now that I've chopped that, the tree's going to go into panic mode and send out loads of new shoots. Right, so I couldn't find anything else, so it's just going in just a big plant pot with lots of drainage. This is a tomato planter, that's what it was sold as. So I'm going to put a load more soil underneath it and basically just slip pot it back into here, like so. So I'll get that done. I'll fill up the pot a bit, and as usual I've just got compost mixed with perlite. So 2/3 compost, 1/3 perlite. I'm not going to cut any roots. I'm just going to plant it straight in the pot so it takes up the least space as possible when I put it back outside. Same as usual, just fill in any gaps or air pockets. You've seen me repot hundreds of trees, so I'm sure by now you know how to do it. So I normally give it a good bash around. Sometimes I use water to settle the soil around the roots. I'm not going to water this because it's so wet outside. I'll just put it outside. Might as well put these rocks back here as well. They're a little bit decorative and they'll just hold everything still. Yeah, so that's all we need to do for this tree for now. I actually think, even though it's quite sparse now, even just doing that has improved the tree, in my opinion anyway. The main thing I'm looking at is the trunk, so we haven't got much movement in this bit. So at some point we'll cut it back down further once we've got more growth coming out. Maybe this will be the leader, this little tiny branch that's here, or this one. But for now we've taken off big branch there, big branch there. I'll grab them 2 branches just to show you, or one of them anyway, because I can't find the other one. Where did that go? Fell down under the bench somewhere, so that was there. So we've removed over half of the actual growth. Look at all that growth. But there's only 2 or 3 years probably to grow that. And I want it to be a single trunk tree. I don't want it to have a split in it. So I've cut that off. We've got buds around here which I can see. And I'm sure we'll get new growth sprouting out from all over the place now. I'm not even going to seal these cuts. These birch trees are tough as old boots, so I'm not worried about that or anything. I was actually contemplating removing this top one, but I'll leave it for now and we'll let it grow for another year and we'll just see what happens, see what new shoots we get. Okay, so that's what's left of the tree. after taking the whole half of the tree off. So I can quite clearly see now that's far too straight for my liking. But like I said, I'll just let it recover now, because we've done a major chop there. And you can see we've got buds here, which we won't want, but it'll keep the tree alive for now. There's bud there as well. Hopefully we'll get another bud come out from further down here and along here, and then maybe this will be the main leader, or this one, so we can continue getting some more nice bends and stuff in the trunk. But if you look at it from that side, it does have a little bit of movement, but the actual trunk down here is quite nice. I've covered up these roots now, but if you remember, we do have a nice flare on the root base. So, like I said earlier on in video, they're good trees to practice on. I haven't wired this at all yet. So let me know what you think, guys. Let me know if you would have done something differently. Could have kept it as a twin trunk. So the tree's back outside now. This is where it lives, with all the other trees along here. It's quite sheltered here as well. So I'll show you a couple more birches. So there's another one there, a bit more advanced. Again, I seem to have a problem getting branches to grow low down. Either way, the birch is a fun species to play with. I'll show you some of the other ones. So this one here is a whole clump of birches. There's 4 in there, and they're getting quite congested and probably need pruning at some point soon. I wasn't actually intending on leaving them all in there, but they have grown quite nicely together. And I've got a whole row planted in the ground. These are all seed grown birch as well. They're thickening up nicely in the ground there. They've been in the ground about a year now, maybe a bit more actually, and they're getting nice and thick down the bottom. We've still got some low branches on them, so again they'll need pruning soon as well. And obviously my most advanced one, which I've just recently done a video on pruning, is this one. So that's the same age as the other one, as far as I'm aware. And then I've got another birch one there. This is a few years younger than the other ones, and I haven't done any pruning at all. So I think that's probably only about 2 years old, that one, 2 or 3. So we'll just let it grow and see what happens. And there is one more in here as well. There's the hazelnut at the front there. And then this one here is another birch. Something's been having a good old munch on it, probably a caterpillar. But it's just growing in the ground, thickening up nicely. See if I can see the trunk. There's also another hazelnut here. Amazing how fast they thicken in the ground. I only planted this in here last year, I think, and it was a little seedling. There's a hawthorn there as well, which I just stuck in. So there's no secret to getting them to thicken up. You've just got to plant them. Alright, it's really cold today, and it's just started raining again. It's not stopped raining for about a week or 2 now here in Wales, in the UK. And what's the temperature now? 11.9 that says. It's actually quite warm really, but I'm feeling the cold because I've been out here for a while. Anyway, so Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. No doubt there'll be more pruning to do throughout the winter. I don't really mind what time of year I prune things. I don't go by the set schedules. People say, oh, you shouldn't prune until early spring, shouldn't repot, shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. It depends on the trees. A lot of these trees that I grow are sort of native trees, which are tough trees, so it doesn't really matter in my opinion, as far as I've found anyway. Obviously some of them are a bit more delicate, like the junipers and the Japanese maples. I won't touch them. I won't cut any roots off of them or anything now, because they'll just sulk throughout the whole of the year if I do that now. But a lot of the trees are perfectly fine. You can do whatever you like to them, basically any time of the year. But you just gotta know what you're up to. Alright, so thanks for joining me in the garden today, guys. I've also been potting on a load of garlic. This is about the third or fourth generation garlic which I've grown. Anyway, it's just started raining again. Loads of trees out there now, well over 100, more like 150 now. I haven't actually counted them recently, but they're all going to sleep for the winter. So this is my opportunity to get them all snug and settled for the winter. Any pruning that I want to do, get that done. Okay, so that's about it for today, guys. Hope you're all good, and I'll see you on the next one.